My name is Claudia, a 31-year-old stay-at-home mom. I met James, my husband, in high school and reconnected at a reunion 3 years ago. We hit it off and started dating, getting married a year later after having our child. Our daughter was born safely, and I thought we were on our way to building a happy family. But
You've been home all day. What have you been doing?
my husband yelled as soon as he walked in and saw the messy room. Sorry, I just couldn't manage. I apologized while picking up the scattered trash, and then our daughter Lily started crying.
She's so loud. I'm tired from work, and I can't even rest with all this noise. You're her mother. Make her stop crying now.
He yelled again, and I couldn't help but cry in frustration and anger. He threw the TV remote on the sofa, walked into his room and slammed the door. My baby cried even louder. The truth is, I've been so overwhelmed with childcare that I couldn't keep the house in order, and my husband has been getting irritated every day. He works at a restaurant and often comes home late, so he wanted me, his wife, to take care of the childcare and household chores.
Why don't you quit your job? I can provide for this family. The house needs a caretaker.
If you say so, then I'll quit. But taking care of our 1-year-old daughter has been more challenging than I imagined, and I've barely been managing with that. Especially with her frequent nightly crying, I've been having sleepless nights. I wanted to rely on someone, but my parents have passed away and my in-laws are still working, even though they're past retirement age. My mother-in-law in particular is a life insurance salesperson, busy from morning to evening with door-to-door sales. I once tried to ask her for help, but it didn't end well. I need your help, Mom. Can you spend the weekend taking care of Lily for me?
Sorry, but I have an important appointment with a client this weekend. After that, I also have to cook dinner for your dad. I'm busy, you know.
I have an idea. I think both of you have reached retirement age, so you should start to rest and spend time with your grandchildren. That also helps me and my husband a lot.
How can you say that? Will you be paying for me to stay at home? And who will pay the bills?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm just worried about your health.
Be responsible for your own life first. Who do you think you are to teach us how to live?
I had no choice but to manage everything myself, so I stopped sleeping when my daughter napped during the day and worked on household chores instead. I set up a baby monitor near my daughter's bed and kept an eye on her with my smartphone. Even though I'm exhausted and sleep deprived, seeing my daughter's sleeping face gives me strength to keep going. One day, a month into this routine, my husband said something that changed everything.
Remember my classmate, Olivia?
Yeah? The one you were close to, right?
Right. She's working for a housekeeping service now, and I talked to her about our situation. She's coming to help out starting tomorrow.
What? You've already made a contract?
What's wrong? I'm doing this for you. Got a problem with that?
No, it's not that. Thank you. I said my thanks, but deep down I wasn't happy about a friend seeing the mess in our house and didn't agree with his decision. But I knew if I complained it would just lead to another one of his outbursts, so I swallowed my words. Once Olivia started coming over a few times a week, the house stayed clean and my husband's mood improved. He stopped yelling at me and I could focus on taking care of Lily, which honestly was a relief. But an even more frightening event was waiting for me and my daughter. Today was Lily's vaccination day. My husband, who was off from work, was lounging in the living room since the morning. I made the appointment, but since it's Saturday, it might take a bit longer. I told him as I headed for the door. He stopped me, and for a moment, I hoped he'd come with us. But that hope was quickly dashed. Will you come with us?
Of course no. But there's a new cafe near the pediatrician. Kid-friendly. Why don't you go there after the vaccination?
I was taken aback by his sudden suggestion. That's fine, but I'll be tired from the vaccination.
But you need a change of scenery every now and then, right?
But
Just go. I want some time alone at the home for once.
he pushed me out of the house. I heard the lock click behind me and let out a sigh. Looking up at the sky, it was gloomy as I felt. How could he be so selfish? Let's go then. I let out another small sigh and hurried to the pediatrician, about a 10-minute walk away. After Lily's vaccination, I planned to head straight home, but unfortunately it started to rain. Seeking shelter, I ended up at the cafe my husband had mentioned. It was indeed a kid-friendly place, even offering baby food, which I ordered and fed to Lily. You like it, huh? I smiled at her, giggling with each spoonful. Despite the stress of constantly catering to my husband's mood, having Lily made it bearable. An hour later, the rain stopped and we left the cafe. Lily, full and sleepy, dozed off in a baby carrier as I walked home. When we arrived, I tried to unlock the door as usual, but... Huh? The key wouldn't fit in the lock. Puzzled, I rang the doorbell and my husband's voice came through the intercom.
What?
I can't unlock the door. As I explained, confused, he started laughing.
I changed the locks.
What?
Well, the baby's crying is too loud, right? I need to sleep in peace. You guys can sleep outside.
With that, he hung up. Wait, please open up. I pressed the intercom repeatedly, but it seemed that he had turned it off. While I was still trying, the rain began again. I pounded on the door, but he didn't come out. You can't be serious. As the rain grew more intense, I started walking in a panic. I think I need to buy an umbrella first, but then where could I go? I had no one to rely on. Suddenly it turned into a downpour and the thunder began to rumble. If I stay out here, Lily will catch a cold. Shielding my daughter from getting wet, I ran aimlessly. Suddenly I slipped in the mud. I twisted to land on my back, keeping Lily safe, but she started crying from the shock. Trying to stand, I realized I had sprained my ankle and couldn't move properly. Feeling utterly abandoned, I was at a loss when I heard a voice.
My goodness, Claudia?
Huh? Mother-in-law? There she was, my mother-in-law. Recognizing me, she hurried over and handed me her umbrella.
Just wait here.
She brought her car, which was parked nearby, and helped Lily and I inside. Lily and I can't go into the house anymore. My husband changed the locks. That's why I'm here. She nodded silently and drove us to her place. In about 30 minutes, we arrived at my in-laws' house, where I changed out of my wet clothes and received first aid on my foot. My mother-in-law had stumbled upon me by chance on our way back from door-to-door sales. She even left work early to help me. Grateful, I told her everything in bits and pieces, which made her shake with anger.
I can't believe this. Even though he's my son.
She tried calling my husband in fury, but couldn't get through. I tried as well, but with the same result.
Why isn't he answering? He's not, passed out or something, is he?
Her words made me anxious, though I thought it unlikely. Then I remembered I left the baby monitor on. We can only see the bedroom, but let's check. When we looked at the camera on my smartphone, we saw something shocking. My mother-in-law screamed.
Ah!
And no wonder. There was my husband and Olivia on the bed in a compromising state. We realized everything then. He had kept us out for so long and changed the locks for this. He hadn't answered the phone because he was occupied. I felt a deep bubbling anger within me. He had put our daughter in danger for this. An hour later, after making sure the affair was over via the camera, I took a deep breath and called again. My husband answered irritably.
What? Don't disturb me.
I'm not playing with you. What do you think you're doing? Change the locks back. We can't get in.
Didn't I tell you I can't stand the babies crying? You guys are so annoying.
Then where are we supposed to sleep?
I don't care. Maybe outside.
His mocking laughter echoed in the room. I was on speaker, so my mother-in-law heard everything. If you say so, you're so cruel. I'm going to the slums.
Like I'd care. It's less hassle than a divorce. Do whatever you want.
I was speechless at his cruel words, jokes or not. There are things you just don't say. My mother-in-law seemed more shocked than I was. Her face was pale as she ended the call. I'm so sorry. It's my fault for raising him to be such a terrible person. She bowed deeply. Please, look up. Thanks to you, I've made up my mind. Will you help me? To my question, she nodded firmly and said, Let's give him a taste of his own medicine.
What's this all about, calling me over suddenly?
The next day, my mother-in-law had summoned my husband to her house. My daughter was left with my father-in-law, who was off from work, and we had asked relatives to take care of her.
Why didn't you answer the phone yesterday? It was my day off. I was sleeping.
What about Claudia and the baby? Aren't you letting them see us yet? I was surprised to hear that my mother-in-law had often asked my husband to let us meet and help with the baby on her day off, but he had always disagreed and forced her to refuse my offer to help. She had refrained from insisting, thinking it might cause a rift between mother and son.
Still not possible. Claudia is busy with the housework, taking care of her children. You don't need to worry. They're all fine.
He lied effortlessly right in front of me, hidden until I couldn't take it anymore and burst out. How can you lie so easily?
Claudia? Why are you here?
He was clearly surprised to see me. Since you said we could sleep anywhere, I stayed here last night.
What?
James, you changed the locks and kicked Claudia and the baby out.
That's...
I know about you kicking us out for cheating with Olivia yesterday. I decided to confront him. When I showed him the recordings of his affair from yesterday, his face turned blue.
It's not like that. You're misunderstanding this.
What is a misunderstanding?
Yesterday, Olivia just happened to come over, and she forced herself on me.
I sighed at his weak explanation. How many times will you lie before you're satisfied?
It's not a lie.
Didn't Olivia say that your affair started right after I gave birth? And she mentioned that you were the one who initiated the reconciliation, right?
What?
Actually, my mother-in-law told me yesterday that my husband and Olivia used to date. They had kept in touch, and my mother-in-law knew Olivia's parents. So she talked to them, and we got the story from Olivia.
It seems you hired her for housekeeping just to make it easier to have an affair.
My mother-in-law added. My husband started sweating profusely.
It's not like that. It's all Claudia's fault.
What have I done?
You're a lousy housekeeper, and you're always making the baby cry.
What? I can't believe you're saying this. I'm your wife.
You don't have any maternal qualities, you know. Poor Lily being raised by someone like you.
His words deeply disappointed me. I couldn't believe I had married such a horrible man. My mother-in-law slapped him across the face.
Enough of this! Ow!
I handed him the divorce papers as he groaned in pain. I never thought you could be this awful. Let's get divorced now. He actually smiled when he saw the divorce papers.
Fine, I'll gladly divorce you.
He signed the papers with apparent glee, so I took them and told him. You'll be paying alimony too.
I'll pay alimony, sure, but I'll take custody.
You pay me $500 a month for child support until she's 20.
What? Don't be ridiculous. You can't possibly raise Lily.
That's right. What are you even saying?
Just because I cheated doesn't mean I can't get custody.
If you have a problem, we can go to court. His smug grin made my blood boil. He was trying to use our daughter for money.
Me, a working man who can afford a housekeeper, versus you, who can't work or handle household chores or childcare. It's clear who the better parent even without a trial. Ha ha!
His unpleasant laughter filled the house.
Fine, let's go to court. You won't be laughing for long.
After submitting the divorce papers, our divorce was finalized. I hired a lawyer for a custody hearing. The court decided that giving custody to my ex-husband would separate Lily from her mother, and since he had never done any childcare and had kicked us out of the house, it would harm her welfare. So I was granted custody. The court also ruled that his actions were malicious and that he had to pay the legal costs. My mother-in-law later told me that he had to pay $22,000 in alimony and child support, as well as his lawyer fees. He didn't have enough savings, so he turned to his parents for help. However, they refused to help him, changed the locks, and didn't let him in the house. The man who had locked us out was now locked out himself. Fitting karma.
Mom, please open the door. I already know my fault. Forgive me.
You're not allowed. You're so loud. My ex-husband turned to Olivia for help, but her parents were furious and they broke up. I claimed $6,500 of alimony from Olivia, which she paid in full. My mother-in-law reported the affair to the housekeeping company Olivia worked for, and she was fired. Of course, that is also true. No one wanted to hire someone so untrustworthy. Now, Olivia is under strict surveillance by her parents and leading a confined life. Half a year later, my ex-husband, now without a home, money, or anyone to rely on, contacted me saying,
I was wrong. Help me. I promise I'll change. We're going to be a family again.
But I just hung up without responding. He must be feeling as desperate and as lost as I did when he was kicked out. As for me, I rented an apartment near my in-laws' house and I'm living there with my daughter. My in-laws treat me like their own daughter and love my daughter deeply. With their support, I found a part-time job and I'm working towards becoming a general manager for my daughter's sake.